Well, we're here. I know we had episode 50 last week, but I promised we'd be back, and we're here with episode 51. It's going to be a good one, maybe a little short, but we're going to pack it full of content and have a good time with you guys. So we'll get started here in just a minute.
Welcome to the Pitside Podcast, where we discuss the latest news and developments in the Coast2Coast Racing League, as well as other racing news inside and out of iRacing. Here's your host, the A-Let Outlaw, Preston Cranmer, and Roger, the Bass Man, Craig.
Yeah, so we're back, guys. It's been a fun week, and we're right here at week 6 of the Coast2Coast Racing League winter season, fall season. I can never keep that straight. I guess it's the fall season right now.
Fall.
It'll be getting close to winter by the time we're done, but we're right about the halfway point, and really in the thick of things. Lots going on in the league. And it's been a fun week so far.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Lots of stuff happening, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So I gotta ask. I'm gonna wait to ask this question. The first one's got to be asked. The hat. It's a Washington Capitals hat. There's a ton of autographs on there. Is Ovi on there?
Ovi is actually not on here. So you guys might see this. I have a tendency. It's not always.
Tip your head down.
Sure. So
there you go. Yeah. That's impressive.
I have a tendency on game day to try to wear something Capitals, whether it's, boxers, I don't really have those, or a t-shirt or whatever. So you might catch something. You guys might be able to predict what they were recording based on that. I'm not sure. But yeah, this hat came back some years ago. I actually have a pretty good story about that. We might have to tell that sometime. But we actually went up to training camp, me and a couple of buddies that are also Caps fans. And the Capitals training place at the time it was called Kettler Capitals Iceplex, and the parking deck butts right up where the players park, where the people park. Everybody parks in the same deck, and it butts right up to this. I guess the bottom is apartments, and then on the top floor there are 2 hockey rinks, and that's where the Capitals practice. So everybody goes in, you watch training camp, and then afterwards you can just kind of stand out on the top deck of the parking deck, and all the players take turns coming out. They sign autographs. Spend tons of time with the fans because not a lot of people go to training camp. It's not a big thing. So we got to spend tons of time. If there's a rather controversial figure on the Capitals in Tom Wilson, and if anybody's hockey familiar, you probably know that name. But I still have a picture. I have to dig it up at some point. I got him to agree to square up with me. So I have a picture. Now, Tom Wilson is, I'm not a big guy, and he is huge. So he's standing over me with his fists in my face. And I told him there was a guy, they were actually playing the Maple Leafs that night. And I told him, I was like, hey, man, that guy's been talking trash about you. You need to knock him out. And I'll take credit for it. I really don't believe I had anything to do with it. But Tom Wilson and that guy got in a fight that night. And so, no, I take it back. It wasn't training camp. It was a practice because there was a game that night. But yeah, it was tons of fun. I met at the time my favorite player was Brooks Like, and we got to spend some time meeting those guys. But Ovi is contractually obligated through Liberty Media that he can't sign autographs unless they're present, and then they charge. So the only people, now he does skirt that rule, the only people he'll sign autographs for are children. So if you're a kid and you want to get his autograph, he'll sign it, but he legally is not supposed to sign. Now, if you catch him at the right place, we saw a couple of people get him. If it's quiet, but if there's lots of people around, it draws some attention, and he's not supposed to do that. But he did talk to everybody. He was a lot of fun. He goofed off, and he was telling some jokes and stuff. We had a good time.
That's cool, man.
This is a racing podcast.
Yes, right.
So Roger has stumbled across my other passion, so I get a little long-winded sometimes.
Yeah, one of my old passions. Not so much now, but But hey, Ovi's going. Before we leave that, Ovi is chasing down Gretzky.
Yeah.
And Gretzky's his biggest fan for doing it, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, they've always had a good relationship. I personally don't think Ovi will get there. I think he'll get close, but as a Caps fan, you can't not pull for it. So.
Yeah. Anyways, it's cool. He's I've never been a big fan, but a grudging respect for him, and for sure, he's a 17-year veteran and certainly a team leader and a pretty cool dude. So I've been seeing some of his videos. I don't know if it's because you and I mentioned the name or whatever, but now they pop up on Facebook, all those little videos, and Ovi does a bunch of those.
Oh yeah,
and they're all funny and they're all pretty cool. So
there's a really good, and I won't get into it, but there's a really good commercial they put out just this season with him and Nick Backstrom, and it's really funny. Like they come off, they used to do, both of them used to do commercials years ago, and they, you could tell they were foreign, didn't speak good English, and their commercials are just really bad, but they've gotten much better.
So the other thing I want to talk about, Dylan Westbrook. We had him on last week, and I really appreciate him. Sitting out in the rain outside his trailer. That was and got some good feedback on that. I don't know if you saw some of the comments, but a lot of guys, had a lot of respect for. There's no ego, and he's willing to do whatever, and even sit out in the rain out, in a parking lot somewhere. Yep. So, kudos to Dylan. So that was last week, and of course, when that podcast came out, he had already run at. He ran
Devil's Bowl for the Steve King.
Yeah, but the night before he ran Texas Motor Speedway.
No, that was upcoming. He hadn't run that yet because he was telling us that he wasn't sure the forecast didn't look good.
Yes, but then after that, so what? Because the first night got rained out at Devil's Bowl.
Yeah,
he raced at Texas Motor Speedway, and Ricky Stenhouse was there. He beat Ricky, anyways.
I say.
But he was quick time. Won his heat, and then started P4. Had the lead for a while, and I'm thinking, I'm not a setup guy or not, but I think they just missed the setup just a touch. It looked like he couldn't hold the inside enough, and he lost some ground to some pretty respectable competition. JJ Hickel went on to win it, but this week, short track nationals, it's all coming to a close. I think I saw today 57 cars already signed up. That's on Flow Racing, so that should be where I'll be glued to this weekend anyways. It should be a great event. So go Dylan, we're pulling for you.
Yeah, and so just rewinding a touch, did you see that when the night he ran at Texas Motor Speedway, which I hadn't put the pieces together because I don't follow NASCAR a whole lot, but this was actually NASCAR weekend, so it was part of one big event, and they were having throwback weekend, and some of the paints on both the late models and the sprint cars were absolutely incredible. Like, those are some of the best throwback paints I've ever seen, and especially seeing them on cars they weren't, the types of cars they weren't originally on.
Yeah, and the other thing too was on the NASCAR race on Sunday. They had a little spot there of Dylan winning the night before, so that's kind of cool.
Yep, they showed a picture. They showed a picture of him in victory lane, and our Coast2Coast Racing League and Pitside Podcast for logos were well on display. I thought that was
on NBC
a badge of honor right there. You know, nobody noticed, but I did.
No. And a big shout out to Kevin Fry. Kevin, who's flagman there at Devil's Bowl. Also got, it was kind of cool because he got that one interview with Scotty and Dylan, and just sort of watching it. And then the next day I saw the finished product. It was on Facebook. So it's kind of cool to see the two versions, the official version and the black market thing that Kevin did.
The director's cut, we'll call it.
Yeah. And then Kevin was good enough to get a picture with our logos on the wing with Dylan, and it was all very cool. So a big shout out to Kevin. And speaking of Kevin, he's been running the Road to Pro. Yeah. And he was P50. No, he's 70. But that's not shabby. I mean, you're talking about best drivers in the world, and you make one or two mistakes and you're going to drop down that list. But 70 is not shabby. But while we're on that, Chris Sabeski, who he ran in our league when we had the elite division, and he's shown up for a lot of our charity events. He's a member of Phantom Racing. He's in P6. So I think he's going to Canadian boy. I got a pull for him out of Winnipeg, but our own Kyle Moonen, man, P16. He's doing it. Just 2 more weeks. We gotta, So we should almost have an off night and stream the. Are they broadcasting those? I didn't notice if they were.
I don't believe they do. As I mention every time that the Road to Pro comes up, I missed the Road to Pro series when I tried to run it, so I have no idea.
Well, evidently, what you said, I think Stephen Goldner missed a week or two, and he's in 60th.
Yeah,
and I don't think he made every week.
I think he's made 3. They've run 5 so far, and he's run 3. I know one week that he did run, he also got taken out because he was able to make our race on Tuesday night. And he told me, because him and I had made some, no, I guess it was a Monday, and he and I had made some contact, and he told me he was already frustrated because he'd gotten taken out. So at least one of the 3 races he's run that didn't go well, and then there's 2 other races he didn't make, and he's above a lot of guys that have run all 5. Yeah. So he's running pretty well.
And Sean Bauer, so Sean Bowers is in our Raiders division, but Sean's been in the league since almost day one, and he's an A division guy, but his IL and some absence, he was away a lot, has shuffled him down, so he's in the Raiders division. But I mean, he's P35 in the Road to Pro. He could make it, like that's on the outside looking in. So and Braden Finsel, who was a former member in 50. Oh, and Lane's 46.
Yep.
So Lane Snook. So a lot of guys there pulling for them all. But Kyle Moonen, it'd be great to see him make it, man. It was just that would be great for any or all of them to make it. But again, nothing to be ashamed of here. And we got a bunch of other guys. I think maybe they just didn't have a good week and they may be falling off the track or something. And there's a bunch of other guys doing it, and that's excellent. It's excellent to see guys in our league doing that well.
Yeah, and for the guys that are actually running, feel free to go to the lounge and share your results or whatever. Oh, yeah. Like I've been itching to hear about how it's been going. We can look up the results and stuff, but don't get the idea. Maybe we ought to have Moonen on to talk about how it's going.
Maybe a couple of these guys. It would be great to talk to them and just the whole experience. For sure, we need to get Kyle on and get the whole experience. But that's exciting and a great news, and it just shows the quality of drivers we've got in the league. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So good luck, guys. We'll be fine. So this is on Sunday. Tomorrow night, make sure you follow the results on that, and we'll see if we can get Kyle on maybe next week or the week after. So we'll get up to date on that. But exciting stuff.
Yeah, and now's probably as good a time to mention as any, and I'll mention this at the end too, just in case anybody skips ahead. But we won't have a podcast next week. I am out of town for work, so that's gonna keep us from being able to record next week. But we'll return the following week, which may be the week after the finale. I believe Road to Pro runs every week, so we might be able to have a freshly minted pro in Kyle Moonen on the show.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
We can hope so. That'd be really excellent. And Kyle's a well-liked guy among the league. He's hilarious. I enjoy talking to him anyway.
He's a great guy.
He's a goofball. But he's a great guy, and I know I have no doubt that everybody in the league is definitely pulling for him.
One Kyle Moonen story, so I got to tell this one, is we had the trophies back before the drivers' fund, so drivers had to pay shipping. And we had one guy who was I can't remember if he was removed from the league or a relative of his, but anyways, he was quite bitter about this $10 shipping fee or whatever it was, and going on and on and on, and there was a group thread and he just wouldn't stop. And finally Kyle Moonen just paid for him.
I believe we got a single private message to both you and I that said, "Is this guy serious?" And then I got a notification that you'd received $10 for shipping, and I was like, and Kyle had paid for it. It was the funniest thing, and I don't want to get into it too much, but the guy that was not happy about it was not happy about it. Like, was really looking to stick it to us, and Kyle just like there's no complaining after that. Kyle was like,
you're getting your trophy whether you want it or not.
Yeah, it was absolutely hilarious. Kyle kind of went down as a legend in my book after that.
Yeah. It's he's just solid, man, and a phenomenal driver. No matter what he's in, it's Kyle's going to be up there. So,
and he's going to run you clean. That's
yeah, and it's just intense racing, and then you get him in the interview, after the race, and it's just like everything's calm.
I just want to get to my hot pocket.
Yeah. I just I can't imagine it. That there should be a video somewhere if somebody took him out, like when he's leading or something, just to see if he really does get upset ever.
Shoot.
Yes, yeah. You never know. Goldner may have a different version of that. You never know. We don't know what really happens. But yeah, Kyle's an excellent dude, and we wish him all the luck. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
But the other thing we want to talk about, just moving along here, is this thing here. I'm hoping it's up there. It's there. The feature winner stickers. So these have been a hit, man. We asked people to post on the lounge, and guys are like, well, Jeff Barker, who's on a tear, like the one thing is you can only get one sticker per division, but like Jeff's got 4, Vickery's got 4, and it's all been in different divisions. But the Brewerton Beast put them all on the Beast, this cat, and that started a trend. I don't know if you saw it today, but Atkinson.
I know. I'm very concerned that PETA is going to be involved at this point, because we've got cats all over the country that are getting stickered from all of our feature winners. So, guys, I'm just asking, if you take the picture, maybe don't peel the backing off the sticker. I don't know if that's happening or not, but it's a real concern, because we have some pictures. I don't think it's animal abuse. But there's some crazy folks out there. Just be aware.
We don't want the FBI knocking on Jeff Barker's door, because he started this whole pet sticker thing.
Cat abuse ringleader.
But I don't know. Vickery posted his. He's got them all really nice. He's got a nice looking machine there, and look very orderly. And then Joe Canella, probably he's like me. I'd only win it one. I haven't won one yet, but. His wife mounted it on a portable stand that he can put on his ringer, and then Jeff Barker said you can put it in your car and just go like a maniac.
Yeah, use it as motivation. I know. So you know what? But this is exactly the thing we want, guys. Yeah. We want to have fun with this. We want to reward you for winning. That's the end goal. But the reactions, getting the stickers, sending pictures of all the crazy places y'all are sticking them. And if you're not, if you're just sticking it on the side of your tower or wherever, send us those pictures. That's what makes all this so much fun.
Just don't send us a picture if you shoved it up. Stick it up your whatever. So we don't want to see that one.
No,
but anything else.
I don't appreciate you even planting the idea.
No, well, guys are coming up with all these unique ideas. So
it's true.
It's wild, man.
Gosh, you have just done something to us. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. I hope not. But anyways, the stickers have been a hit. Bob the Goods got them. I think he's pretty much up to date now. And guys that don't have stickers are anticipating. I know. Justin's sick. He's where's mine, and Dean Reynolds wants a P2 sticker or whatever.
I don't think we're gonna do P2 stickers, guys. Dues might go up if we have to. So
you're gonna have to win
on the table.
Yeah. Anyways, it's excellent, and there's been a long list, and there'll be a lot more before the season's out. So. We're at week 6, buddy. We're halfway through the season, and you and I are already we're planning next season in a lot of ways. So I
think this is the fastest 6 weeks we've ever had. They have absolutely flown by. I don't know if it's the time of year. I've got a lot going on outside of iRacing, but these 6 weeks, I can't believe we're halfway home. It's crazy.
Well, it's hard for I missed 3 of the first 4 weeks, so it's kind of holy smokes, where are we? We're up here already. So hey, and on Monday night we raced at Calder was giving me a hard time. The post I put on there was I said we were racing at Momomo and instead of Kokomo, and but I said it makes sense. It was Malcolm's Mills mill riding Monday Night Madness at Momomo. But anyways, Kokomo. But the Rebels had one caution. Everybody talks about the Rebels and I don't want to be the Rebels, they drive like idiots or whatever. There was about 8 cautions in the Renegades on Monday night, but kudos to all the Rebels. And I was so
it was a great race too. I mean, it was a great race.
Well, but I was was IL night for me. You know, I'm already up. I don't have any drop weeks. I got to get it down. So I was just cruising around the back. I get in the feature, and of course, you know, every time somebody gets a wreck, they're behind me. So now I'm worried about them taking me out. I don't think I've ever had like 5 bonus points for no incidents. I get to lap 24. Like we're coming around out at turn 4, and I'm just easing it around the inside of the corner. And I'm kind of drifting out slowly, and this other guy is coming. He's outside, and he's just kind of slow. You know, we're both at the back of the pack, and we make contact. It's your dad, right? And I think he only had maybe 2 incidents up to then, but it was just, and it wasn't like, it was just a bounce. It wasn't even like a contact. But
just
anyways,
enough for your wheels to tangle. Yeah.
Just enough to lose 5 bonus points, and you know. But anyways, I'm getting my IL down, so now I can get a little more competitive next week. We're at Cedar Lake, so I'm excited about that. So
yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
But you know, I know a lot of guys don't like Kokomo. It's definitely one of my favorite tracks. I don't know, for whatever reason, I've just found now this with the new build. I did find it. Out of all the tracks, the Kokomo's changes to me felt the most drastic. Now maybe I was further away on my setup to start.
I don't know. It was like a grease pit.
Running the wall is a whole lot more difficult there than it used to be for me. So I had to adjust my line a little bit. I typically run the bottom come feature time, but I was having to run a lean off the top. We had, you know, we ran midgets on Tuesday night, and that was. It's the 360s were a cakewalk compared to the midgets. The midgets were extremely difficult. We had a lot of cautions, but I I'm not gonna. I don't know what they were for at the moment, but I don't think I'd fault anybody because it felt like a totally different track than we've ever run before, and in the midgets it was really difficult. So I know there were several incidents and stuff, but.
And, you know, I talk about the Renegades and their cautions, but, you know, I admin that race, and, you know, I'm doing blimp view, right? So, anyways, there was some incredible racing. Like, the middle of the pack was 4 and 5 wide.
Yeah.
And just, I mean, it wasn't just 4 or 5 guys. It was about 8 guys, and they're just all just moving around. There was some great driving there, as much as, you know, there was cautions, but it's Kokomo, but... yeah, there was some phenomenal driving. It was just amazing to watch because the guys were crisscrossing each other, and you know, and not causing cautions at that time. But anyways,
I think you get that a little bit with the bull rings, just because it's not so, you know, you're not flat out all the time. So it's almost like what I used to love. I don't like the midgets since the new tire model as much. I still like them quite a bit, but the midgets used to be, they were so racy because nobody was going to run 20 perfect laps in a row. Right, so it's just racy because you're gonna slip up. It's just a matter of how much you slip up, and I think the bull rings pull that out of the 360s too. Yeah.
So it was great, and you know, just moving along, talking about some of the different winners. Last week, so I'm talking week 5 now. Driver of the week, Chris Schaefer. On a hand, you know, give him kudos. I think Chris, it was 16 spots he gained, and that was in. On Monday night, but a big honorable mention also goes to Ryan Beagle, who he actually passed 18. He went from 20th to 2nd, and I think Schaefer went from 21st to 5th. I mean, that's a great run. Yeah. But he gets the Driver of the Week award because they'll get the mug, and it's only one. So. Ryan had won it earlier in the season, so kudos to Ryan. But congratulations to Chris Schaefer. So that's another name that we haven't seen win a lot of awards, but one of the better drivers out there these days. So so those mugs will be we're just kind of finalizing. We're behind on all sorts of stuff this season. It's just been hard to get caught up, and I know I'm trying to work on the new script for sponsors and stuff, and it's just but we're at that week 6. There's kind of a lull, so hopefully I think part of it was I got off to a bad start, being 3 weeks missing in action and stuff, and just whatever.
Things are starting to shake loose. Yeah, everything's going to start coming here. So some of it too is with the implementation of dues for the first time this season. We had a 3-week window where you had the basically you chose whether you were going to pay or not. And so we've talked about this before, but next season they'll be due at the beginning of the season because everybody will know long ahead of time. If you paid in this season, you paid your dues, you just got to pay them again. So that'll accelerate things a little bit. And plus, we'll have driver of the week, logos and all that stuff will be done in time.
Yeah. And I mean, we had to do the designs for it all and everything else. So it's next season, stuff. It's all. Yeah. So, and lots of new stuff coming. We're always talking. I know different things we're planning.
I was really kind of hoping there's one that's coming up, and I know we can't announce it.
Oh yet, that one. That's a big one.
I'm so excited about it. I'm going to take charge of this one. I'm really amped about it, and everybody. I'm going to try to get everybody involved as much as possible. Well, I can't say anymore. It's going to be awesome.
Guys, there's something big coming. Yeah, it's a bit of a brainchild of John Hine and Preston here, and the ideas just started flowing, and still trying to refine it and finish it off. But when you see it, it's going to be pretty awesome, real awesome. It's going to be. Yeah.
It's one of those things where I think we had a bunch of ideas that we just kind of tossed out, and then somehow like somebody said something, and they just like all glued together, and it's just going to be this big thing that. I can't say anymore. We need to change the subject before I spill some
Somebody
beans.
throws something on a wall, some stuff sticks and some doesn't, but that one just like stuck, and it's kind of like, oh, yeah. So anyways, that's coming. Don't hate to keep teasing with stuff, but...
no, that's what we're supposed to do. That's why people watch.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll find out next week.
So we said we would have a winner this week for the T-shirt from the 50th, but there's been a few technical issues. You want to explain that with the whole podcast, or the
Yeah,
go ahead.
Absolutely. So some of this is we had the podcast goes out on Sunday, but we record much earlier than that. So we're typically recording on Tuesday. If it's good to know if you ever are going to be on the podcast anyway. Sometimes it's on a Thursday, but what happens is we're on a Tuesday this week, and so. The podcast that goes out on YouTube released on Sunday. The Spotify podcast actually didn't come out on Monday. We're having to edit that a little bit differently now because we've got some new features available to us. It's a good thing in the long run. It takes a little extra time. And for whatever reason, we had a lot of segments last week. If you watched, you saw we had multiple interviews, and Roger and I had a couple of different segments as well. And for some reason, the processing of that took a little time, so it didn't go out until Monday morning. We're recording on Tuesday, and I want to make sure everybody's had a chance to comment on those. Now, granted, if you're seeing this now, your chances you might be able to go do it now. But I want to give everybody at least a week to listen to the podcast. You're not obligated to listen to it Sunday when it comes out. We want to make it available to you the entire time. So we're not going to do the draw this week. We either will do that next week, and Roger might be able to record it as a standalone, and we'll release that. That, or it will come out in episode 52, which is a week from, or essentially 2 weeks from when you guys are seeing this. But that's just to give everybody an opportunity. We appreciate if you didn't see last week's, please go watch it. This has been a great episode, but last week's was a killer with Dylan Westbrook talking about some of his stuff, and we had the Clarence Chronicles. That was well worth the watch. And so if you watch those, there's a point where you're supposed to comment on the show. You can do that on YouTube, and then there's a question in Spotify. If you're listening on Spotify, we mentioned last week that if you're listening on Apple, that's great. Please keep doing that. But then if you're doing that, go to the YouTube video and just plop a comment on there. But other than that, I want to make sure everybody's got the opportunity to hear it and comment before we give away a T-shirt, because I don't want to slight anybody. So we're going to give everybody a week. We'll cut that off. If you're listening to this now, we'll cut it off tonight at midnight. So if you haven't commented before that, you'll be ineligible. We'll be doing giveaways in the future too. So please don't let that sour you on it. But you've got that week, and we'll issue the winner here at some point in the next week or so.
Well, so another interesting thing about the podcast, it is getting around. It's just not the league members now. I was it was a birthday party for my stepson on Saturday, and we're there with a bunch of his buddies, and Dylan's name came up because these guys know Dylan and hang out with him a bit and stuff. And he was saying, yeah, Dylan did really good and stuff. And I says, oh, did you saw that on Facebook? Because I thought he followed on Facebook. He says, no, you had that on the podcast, didn't you? I think, you watched the podcast, so
yeah. Well,
hey, Alan, I'm giving you a shout out, man.
There you
go. Thanks for watching, buddy.
How you doing, Alan? I'm glad I can provide you some entertainment. I appreciate you putting up with Roger every week. So
there you go.
and you know what? I'll tell you on the Facebook page this past week, I've noticed a bunch of likes of people's names that I do not believe are in our league. Which that's exactly what we want, guys. Like increasing the exposure here on the podcast increases exposure for you guys that are racing. So that's exactly the goal. We want to entertain everybody, but it's for the benefit of the league too. So if you're watching this and you don't watch the racing on Mondays or Wednesdays or Thursdays, check it out because I promise you'll enjoy.
Yeah, in fact, and it goes both ways too because I know Dylan's picked up a bunch of new fans from the league. There's been some comments about people that are just super impressed with the person he is and. Yes. A lot of guys following him and want to know where he's racing next and all that stuff. So that's cool. And it's great that Dylan's partnered up with us and pretty soon we'll have his merch online. That's might not get that till next season. Dylan's season winds down this weekend. He'll be home and then we'll get a chance to talk a little more detail about what products we're going to put on there and all that sort of stuff. But stay tuned for that. That's kind of cool. So
I'm going to propose, and not that I'm trying to get rid of you, but I think you should have Dylan over and let him guest host the podcast one week.
That's a great idea. He's been down. He's been on my rig, and I think I've talked about that before. But yeah, we'll get him down here and let him host.
Yeah,
and
and he, you know what? Let him pick a guest. So if he's got somebody from ASCS or whatever, we'll have him on.
Oh, so I guess the weekend's over now. But something super cool, and I think I can talk about this, but Steve Goldner said, so Steve Goldner is going to be down there for the Short Track Nationals. He's flying down in the private jet with Alex Hill and Hill's Racing. And I imagine he's crewing for Alex. He knows her quite well. So, that's really cool. So we were looking to get some track reports, but I guess that may not work with you being away. If he gets them, they may not be out next week, but we definitely will still want to get those. I mean, I think hearing from those drivers and stuff is definitely, whenever it is awesome. Oh, yeah. So anyways, and we'll have to try to get Alex Hill on here sometime too, because she's had an amazing career, amazing girl. It's and you know what? Pretty incredible. I'm pretty sure we shouted him out, but I think if I want to make sure we have, but Glenn Stiers is being. Yep. And maybe we mentioned this, and you can stop me if we did, but he's being put in the Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame. Yes. And I'd love to have him on, but if even if not, that is an exceptional honor, and we definitely owe him a shout out. We've obviously been close with him with our relationship with Oshweekend throughout our tenure as a league, and appreciate a lot of the stuff that he's done for us. A lot of where we're at now is credit to him, because they were kind of our first real sponsor, even when there wasn't money involved, and so that's really cool. I was thinking the other day about Glenn is just such a class act, but if it wasn't for Glenn, I don't think there'd be any, he's built an empire of sprint racing. If it wasn't for him, there wouldn't be any. He built the track in his backyard, and built up. He started the whole crate division up here, and now they're 45, 50 strong. But they're racing, 5 or 6 places across Ontario, now in Quebec, and it all started, with Glenn and this dream that he had. So, just huge, a huge contributor to the sport, as well as being a former winter national champion at East Bay, and the guy who was and still is driving. It's great to see him back in the car again. But it was his record that Dylan beat at Oshweekend for feature wins. So really, that's cool. Yeah. I didn't know that. Well, no, and Glenn was the first one to congratulate him down in pit lane. So kind of a Gretzky Ovechkin situation. Yeah, yeah. Well,
I know you may not love that comparison, but
well, the only difference there was, he was driving for Glenn, so eventually
Yeah.
could stop playing for Gretzky. But yeah, it's very cool. So yeah, we got to try to get him on sometime. I think I'm hoping that next season when we do this Every Child Matters, so we can get a few of the natives that race and stuff, and on here to talk. We've had Derek Miller, just a real cool dude, and love to get Alex and Glenn Stiers and a few others on. So I think that should be a goal next season to get a bunch of them on, because it's certainly it's the roots of sprint racing here in Ontario, for sure.
That's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah. So the only other thing I had on the list to talk about was the Veterans Charity. And again, here's more teasers. I'm sorry, but only because we don't really know yet exactly what we're talking about doing. Is a Knoxville National style Open 360s. It's just getting the exact dates, and the format will be like Knoxville Nationals format. But we just got to figure out how many days we do and all that sort of stuff. So anything you want to add to that, Preston?
No, I want to be careful, but maybe the idea would be to put forth a poll. We can't always just take the results of a poll and say that's it, that's how we're going to do it. But maybe it's worth querying the drivers and just see what 3 nights. I think that's what we're probably looking at as a 3-night event, and say what 3 nights work best for you. And that way we want to. Guys, we're never trying to leave anybody out. I know everybody knows that. But when we put together these events, sometimes, if it's a multi-day event, there might be a night that certain guys can't make. So it might help us to determine the nights that you can make. We're kind of talking about maybe a Saturday, Sunday, or a Friday, Saturday, Monday, a Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I know we don't do a lot of stuff on weekend nights, so that's something we probably need to figure out. Yeah. But yeah, we'll be figuring that out at least. I don't know if a poll will go out or not. It might be just informational, to kind of get us some data to work with. But if it does, but we'll be nailing that down. I do think it'll be a 3-night event. It'll be Knoxville Nationals point style, which makes things a little bit more complicated because iRacing League manager doesn't handle that. Dan Lisa doesn't handle that. There's not something out there, so we do it by hand. We've got some tools that help us. But that does, in between sessions sometimes, if it's a transfer session directly into the one, that's right after it, we need to provide a window in between to allow us to do some leg work, those kind of things.
Yeah. So there's some logistics issues that we're kind of need to work through for, especially the Knoxville National style. So it's the points the first 2 nights. You stop me if I'm wrong, but the last day it's most everybody's in. There's 4 spots left, and it's like a chili bowl where it's a whole alphabet soup where there's a whole bunch of potentially E, D, C, B mains, and we may have to run those all as separate sessions. So and then pre-grid the next session. There's going to be a lot of background work. So we got to kind of figure out what are the gaps between those and all that stuff. We haven't got there yet. But but it will be a Knoxville National style, and looking at 3 days, and I think your idea is a good one, Preston. Let's see when people are available for the best part of it.
Yeah, and that's another point what Roger's talking about. There's some legwork that has to be done. We ask for admins on a pretty regular basis. We still need a few. Joe Halter's done a good job of getting those slots fixed. I think he's out of town at the moment, but we most everything's filled up at this point. We've got a few that need to be filled still. But this is an opportunity if somebody wants to try their hand at kind of like adminning, or if you want to be involved in kind of the legwork of the event, we'll take some help. So if anybody's interested in that kind of thing, if if you're well versed in the Knoxville Nationals and the format and all that, right? We'll educate ourselves. Yeah. There's no problem. But if somebody wants to step up and say, hey, look, I'm gonna help you guys run this, please let us know. We will take the help and gladly. There are no questions asked. We'll get together with you and figure out how this works, and we'll be sure to give you credit. You can come on the podcast, however you want to do it. That'd definitely be really cool.
if you know how to set up races, I mean, because it's going to be a lot of races need to be set up and stuff. But you need to be proficient at that because it's so easy to screw up.
Yeah.
And but there's a lot of other background, just legwork stuff that we could use. Call it grunt work, for lack of a better name, but that's what makes things happen.
Yeah.
It's just like the league. It's just everybody. I don't look at it as a demeaning word. Grunt work it's got to be done, and people who fill those roles, it's incredibly important to make things come off.
Yeah, I'll tell you that the grunt work, it has a negative connotation, but I'm pretty sure at the moment you and I could step away for a few weeks and things would keep on running. But if the guys that do the grunt work every week stepped away,
right.
you and I are screwed. You wouldn't have a race tomorrow night. You just wouldn't.
No.
I think guys go in interviews and give us Roger and Preston lots of credit, and guys, we don't take that lightly. We appreciate that. But at the same time, don't forget about those guys who are adminning. I know that may seem like a trivial thing, but it's not. The review committee, that's not a trivial thing. These guys are the ones that keep your league running week to week.
Yep.
And Roger and I pump the ideas to those guys, and they make it happen.
Yep. Bill Calder now too, all the work he does,
absolutely,
and has been doing, and he's a workhorse, and and now Bob DeGood stepped up, and Barker and Hine have been setting up some of the races and admitting them, and it's just we could use a few more like that if anybody's willing to come out, for sure, because it only makes the league stronger and better. That's for sure.
Absolutely. But you know what I'll say. We anticipated some fall off when the dues were announced and all those different things, but I think our league is in a very very good place. I know we had some lower car counts this past Monday, but we'll blame that on Kokomo. And
you know what?
Yeah.
Kokomo in the Pro Series, Road to Pro Series.
Yeah.
So but we've got I think about 140 now paid up members. So if anybody thought anything was going away, like it's just the most of what we lost was the chaff, if you know what I mean. The guys that showed up once or twice and wouldn't come back. But appreciate everybody stepping up.
At the same time, we don't want those guys that are going to show up here or there to show up and pay, right? Like that's what this is about. And I do think that's had like I said, the car counts are a little low, but it's had a good effect on the league. I've noticed some of those guys that would show up a race or two were really fast. But I'm seeing some of the for lack of a better term, our good old boys are showing up back at the front, and that's been a lot of fun to see some guys who, we're fighting some of the guys that we don't really know real well, and they're getting back to the front. I think the track changes have helped a little bit too.
Well, and a shout out, and I know it's a couple of weeks late now, but we had the Davy Brown tribute race, and I know Terry Landis would love to have won that. But he finished P5.
Yep.
And that was great. And then the next night in was it midgets or the 360?
That would have been non-wing 360s. Yeah.
He won. So him and Barker, our first two champions, are they're getting renewed energy here, and the beast with the stickers on it is living proof of that. So.
Yep.
Anyways.
Well, guys, I think Roger and I are about at our end here, but we appreciate you tuning in once again. Like I mentioned, we won't have episode 52 a week from today, but it should be a week following. So just bear with us while we get some stuff together. Like I said, I'm out of town for work, so I'll be in chilly Florida. It's going to be terrible, but. But we have a good time here every week, and we appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll see you back here in 2 weeks for episode 52. Thanks a lot.
Drive safe.